First of all, hello, welcome. Thanks for joining. My name is Kara, and I am a global account manager here at Free Conference. And with me is Sarah. She is our customer success manager. She's the little puffin on the screen, if you can see
Hi,
her there.
everyone.
So, and just a few administrative things to take care of. We do have the call in presentation mode, so that means your lines are muted. It's a really good practice to do in webinars. We'll go over that in a little bit. But if you would like to, if you want to jump in and say something, you know what, just raise your hand. We will call on you, or you can chat as well. We're manning the chat, so you could chat us a message. That's if you have the cursor and you move it over to the right side of the screen, the little chat balloons will pop up, and you can go ahead and open the chat and type us a message, and we will answer your question or unmute you and cover it that way. We are recording the call, like I mentioned before. That way we can give you the entire file to keep, to send out, to do whatever you want with, and we'll send that to you as post-webinar communication. We're pretty excited about doing this webinar and looking forward to helping you be prepared as possible for your meetings when you hold them. Hopefully you'll learn some handy suggestions, some tips and tricks that will make things a lot easier for you. So first of all, my part of it, because Sarah's the technical wizard and I am just the before you start kind of wizard, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your settings and things you can do before the call starts to prepare, to make sure that things are set for your call before the call actually begins. So to do that, we were going to go into the account dashboard. So this is what is behind your user login. If you log in, and I highly suggest you do that if you haven't in a long time, or maybe it's your first time, this is a great place to enable some of these features. And that's right there in the settings section. So we click on the settings, and you'll be able to, you know what? I have to apologize. I'm not even showing my screen. Here you go. So we're in the settings section, and you can see right here that there's a lot of things you can do, but some of them are specifically meant to shape your experience on your call. So for example, the waiting room. So the waiting room is kind of what it sounds like. It is a music hold environment where your callers will sit and wait for you, the moderator, to join the call and to make that call a live call before the call starts. So if you've got people who are anxious and who really want to jump on the call, they're not going to be, they won't have an open microphone. They'll just be waiting for you to join when you dial in with your moderator pin. So that's a really important point. When the waiting room is on, you must dial in with your moderator pin so that the system will recognize you as the moderator, place you into the call, and connect it as a live call. If you turn off the waiting room, that's fine. That's completely your choice. But please know that your participants will be able to talk amongst themselves if there's 2 or more people on the line before you join. So it's a preference. And what we suggest is smaller interactive calls. It's probably fine to leave it off. But if you're holding a larger call, so even 10 people, 20 people, go ahead and turn it on. It will just make it a little less chaotic before you join the call. And kind of hand in hand with this is our pinless entry and text notification feature. This allows you to enter your phone number. And if you dial into the call from that phone, you're going to be placed right into the call as the moderator. No need to remember your PIN or enter it or anything. The system just recognizes you and puts you right in there as a moderator. Something else that's handy is it will send you text messages of anybody who's on the call before you join. That's really helpful to me because, believe it or not, sometimes no matter how many calendar reminders I get, I may not remember that I have a call starting, and I will see that and it tells me that, you know, Joe Smith is waiting in my room. You better believe I'm going to jump right in and start that call. So that's just a nice feature to have in place. The other thing that you'll want to understand and kind of configure to meet your needs is the chime and the name announce. In other words, What do you want to hear when people join your call? So on this webinar, we have chimes on, but name announce off. What that means is if somebody were to join a little bit later, like right now, we're going to hear a ding, but we will not hear their name played into the conference. What we recommend, and again, it's up to you, but with a smaller group, maybe you want to go ahead and turn that name announce on, just because then you can get a head count. You'll know exactly who's on there and when they leave, by the way. So they'll be a little more accountable for their time, and it won't really impact the call so much. However, if you're having a larger call, and certainly if it's a really big one, you probably want to turn both of these off, because otherwise you've got people coming in and leaving, and it's really just going to impact the sound of your call, and you don't want that to happen. We'll talk about moderator controls and muting mode a few times because it's probably one of the most important things you can do to control your call environment. So the default is that the call is in conversation mode, meaning all lines are open, everyone can talk. Not only can everyone talk, all the noise that's happening on any of those lines will be in the call. So if you have somebody with dogs and the dogs are barking at the Amazon guy, that's going to come into the call. Dishwashers or ambulances, anything like that. And any noise that comes into that call can impact the call itself, of course. So you might want to start that call in question and answer mode, meaning all lines are muted except for you or you and any other moderators you designate. And that way you're blocking out as much sound as possible so you can go through your presentation, you can get through whatever you need to talk about, but people can unmute their own lines. They can unmute them either by clicking on their little microphone if they're online, or via *6 if they're just on the telephone. The most locked down environment is what we're in right now, and that's presentation mode. And that's when you just can't risk any sound at all coming into the call. You don't want people muting and unmuting themselves, so you're just going to lock it down. And nothing personal, it's just that you need the recording for later, and you want to make sure that your presentation is the only thing people are able to hear. We recommend this for larger webinars. Anytime you're doing a recording that you want to repurpose, presentation mode is the best way to have the call set. Let's see. Okay, so recording and transcript. You can do all of this. You can set it up to, where's my recording? You can have it all set up to happen before the call starts. So sorry, it's right on the last tab there. So that way you don't have to remember to press the recording button. Embarrassingly enough, I have done that on a webinar. I did not record it. My bad, I should have set it up beforehand. So if you click on this, record every call that you do. You can choose whether you want it to record just the audio, the MP4, so the online meeting. Do you want it to live stream, and do you want your cue summary generated? I should note that these features aren't included in every plan, so you do want to double check your plan. And if you see something you want, like the queue or live streaming, make sure it's included in the plan you have, and if not, upgrade to the plan that offers it. So we also urge you to have a backup plan. And by that, I mean, if you're going to be joining the call online and using your headset and your microphone, well, that's great. But let's say your internet goes out. Something happens, you've got no internet. You still have to be able to talk on your call. Make sure you're able to dial in. Have a phone ready, and understand that we do provide you the same types of controls on the phone as we do online. They're just in the star key commands. So, for example, *7 will rotate you through those muting modes. *8 will allow you to turn on and off the entry chimes. So you do have that available to you if disaster strikes and you can't moderate online. The other thing that we want to mention is understand what your participants need to know to join the call. For example, are your callers in the US and Canada, or are they overseas? Do you need to provide them a different dial-in number? Please make sure that you are familiar with all of the different countries that we offer local dial-in numbers in. So people in Australia who are joining your call, they can actually dial this number. It's an in-country number, and just by entering the same access code, they're able to get into your call very easily. Note that some of these are only available with the upgraded plans. So again, please check your plan and make sure you understand which number is available with the plan. You can also always give your callers the online meeting room URL that is available in this top left, top right-hand corner. That's just a fancy way of saying the link to join the call. So you can pop it into Chrome and join that way. We have a desktop application that they can download if they don't want to join Chrome. It's right here in our app section that they can use, or of course on a phone, they can choose the app as well. But if somebody is having trouble dialing in for whatever reason, don't forget they can always join online if they want to. We also give you an extremely handy and I think underused connection test link that you can provide to your participants to prepare them for the call. So if you click on this link, you'll be taken through some diagnostics. So for example, a microphone, it'll test your microphone. Can you see that moving? Can you hear? What's your connection speed? Is your video working? So it will run through this whole litany of little tests, and that way participants can troubleshoot and figure it out before the meeting instead of during your very important call. And last but not least, test your own setup. That's extremely important. If you're hosting a large call, the day before, the week before, call it, dial in, join the call online, whatever you're going to do, use that same setup. So the same computer, the same headset, the same camera. Do a quick call, grab a family member or a coworker, have them join that call as well. Make sure that they can hear you, make sure that they can see you, make sure it's a good connection. That way you've worked it all out beforehand and you will have zero stress when it actually comes to that point in time in the call or on your call too. You won't even be worried if something's going to go wrong because you've already tested it. I'm sure Sarah will mention this as well, but we also would really like to stress the importance of a good quality headset. A laptop speakerphone is not the ideal way to hold a meeting, not even a small meeting. It's echoey, it brings in all kinds of ambient noise, and it can be a big distraction to the call. You don't have to spend a fortune these days to get a really good quality headset. You can grab them on Amazon. We use Jabra. We can recommend Jabra. Plantronics is good as well. So just, invest in those if you're going to be doing a lot of calls. You will notice the difference immediately. And with that, I am going to pass this over to Sarah so she can go through what might happen if you're on the call and simple things you can do to make it better.
Thank you, Cara. Hi, everybody. I wanted to say my favorite feature that you mentioned is the text message or the pinless entry. Like Cara said, if I forgot I have a meeting or got distracted, but also if people turn up a little early, you don't leave them waiting listening to hold music for a couple of minutes. You can hop in and go, hey, I see you joined early, and you can get started already. So that's a really good feature to help with conference anxiety. But yeah, most of the time conference calls run without a hitch. They're totally fine. But sometimes you'll have unexpected things popping up, and there's a lot of audio issues that can happen. There's just so many different variables, lots of different hardware, and internet, computers, we all know how they are. So one common concern is echo, and there's actually a really quick and simple way to resolve and troubleshoot that while you're on a call. And it's easy on the phone. It's even easier when you're on the online meeting room. So let's say you have a call like this, there's about 5 people, or maybe you've got 20 people. It's even harder to manage, and there's a few people unmuted, or everyone's unmuted because it's an open conversation, and then all of a sudden you hear this like echo or feedback coming from somewhere. You can't figure out where it's coming from. Our new motto is stay calm, and now that doesn't mean that you have to keep everyone muted for the whole meeting. I get that that's not, practical for some kind of meetings, but let me share my screen and I'll show you really how quick and easy it is. So here we are in the meeting. Let's close this. So you're all chatting away and you hear the echo. Just tap on your screen, open the participant list here on the right-hand side, and you can see everyone who's present, and then you hit mute all, and that's going to mute everyone who hasn't called in as moderator. And then you make sure you leave this checked, allow participants to unmute themselves, and then you hit like that. And then you should all hear a message that Q&A mode's on, you can unmute yourself. So then either the host or the participants can unmute themselves one by one, takes just a few moments. And then when you hear the disturbance come back, you'll know where it's coming from. And then you can ask that person, disconnect your speakerphone, try calling in from a different phone, or, in worst case scenario, just keep yourselves muted that they can listen in. There's also a really good support article. Let me share that with you. And there's a load of information on there. I can pop a link to that in the chat. And that just shows you all of the potential causes, the common ones, the least common ones, so that will help you troubleshoot. And the other way you can mute people, sorry, that's actually the quicker way, is just using this megaphone icon. You click on that and then you choose your option, mute all or unmute all. Now, the same can happen if you've got noise on the call, like Carl was talking about, maybe some background noise like deliveries, or maybe someone else took a call and they've forgotten. Apologies, I've stopped sharing my screen. And they've forgotten that they're in the meeting and they're making a disturbance for everyone else on the call. You can actually see in the participant list whoever's audio is active, their tile. You'll see on my main tile here at the bottom that it's highlighted exactly. So Kara's, who knows what she's doing over there with her icon has moved all the way to the top of the list. So I can now hit mute and disturbance is gone. So you have full control here to manage any of these kinds of audio issues during the call. So and the next one that you might experience is where you can't hear or you can't see video. And there's, again, a couple of easy steps you can take to troubleshoot that while you're on a call. And really the first one is everything plugged in? Is it turned on? That might seem really obvious, but when people are in a little bit of a panic, maybe they forget to think about those things, and that can be really quick to fix. Unplug it, plug it back in, turn it off, turn it back on. That's number one IT support solution. Do they have a microphone or webcam? I know I had a lady once who bought a new laptop and she didn't realize it didn't have a built-in microphone. And she figured out there was no audio because she just didn't have a microphone. And then I would say, if you're having trouble with the online meeting room, people are problem with tech, then there's a really quick solution. If you go to your conference details, you can copy the dial-in number and the access code. There's a quick copy details button here. You can send it to them via email or pop it in the chat here, and they can call in and they have their audio connected really quickly. So that is just super fast so that you can keep moving with your meeting. And I'll go back to this again to this conference details is really a good, like a little mini dashboard within your meeting room. You can find your phone controls if you need to share that with a participant here. You've got access to our support portal there very quickly. As I said before, you can share the conference details. And if you really need to, you can go to your dashboard from here as well. And talking about technical equipment and joining online, again, want to stress what Cara said, that if it's really important, particularly if you do a lot of meetings, to invest in good equipment. I myself was using one time little earbud phones that I had connected to my phone, my mobile phone. And at one point it was working fine, and then the next day people were telling me my audio was cutting in and out, and I figured out the wire had come loose. So it's really good to try to get, and it doesn't necessarily have to cost a lot of money, but just find something, look at reviews online, find something that's of a decent quality and is reliable. In addition to that, if you're doing small meetings with groups of people, maybe in the same room, and you really do want to have speakerphone, maybe that's very important to you. Maybe you talk a little with your hands and you want other, you just need that available. There are portable speakerphone devices available that you can plug into your computer with a USB, and those are very good. I've also had another customer that was having a lot of trouble with their laptop speaker and microphone. Unfortunately, a lot of laptops have, it's really varied, but most of them are not really very good for video conferencing. So they bought themselves a small little speakerphone that they could plug in, a portable one, and that changed everything. It was just dramatically different. The quality was much better. So we go to next. Yeah, I think that we're all good. I just wanted to let you know about our support site because that has loads of information available to you. So let me head there. So for example, that's our ECHO support article. We've got phone numbers where you can reach us if you need to speak to someone. You've got YouTube. We have a YouTube playlist where you can watch a lot of how-to videos. You can just search here for, for whatever problem you're having, and you'll find a lot of different solutions to that. And then also on our homepage, we've got a live chat available, so you can chat with a real person here right from the homepage. So with that, I'll hand it back to Cara to finish off.
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, great. So I'm on video. I didn't do that before. Sorry. We hope you've gotten some value from this, some tips, some tricks, some suggestions that will help you have easy-going, very smooth-flowing conference calls every single time. But we do want to reiterate, like Sarah said, that our support team is here for you if you need assistance. The same people you're chatting with are the same people that will answer the phone. In fact, Sarah and I do all of them as well. So, we're very committed to assisting you through that. We will, once this recording gets polished up and ready to go, we'll send that out to you as a reference tool. Feel free to share it with anybody you like. We're also going to be putting together a series of webinars for the next few months, so keep checking your email for those. They cover different subjects and they might be something that you want to attend as well. So thank you so much again, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.